The public comment section at the school board meeting, at the city council meeting, at the county commission meeting is important. We have to be able to speak at these meetings. And often that's the only way you can really address these officials. So I mentioned the city of Huntsville. There are elections coming up in August for District 1 and District 5. There are 5 districts in Huntsville, so, 2 out of 5 seats, right? It's not going to change the entire dynamics of the city. The incumbent mayor, Tommy Battle, has already won re-election by virtue of no one opposing him. That's interesting. So 4 more years of Mayor Tommy Battle. But there was a local news story that came across my radar that I wanted to share with folks because I think it's relevant no matter where you live, right? We know we have an audience throughout the South and really, across the country, even some international listeners as well. But something that I think is relevant to all of us is government transparency. And it came across my radar, WAFF 48 locally. They had a story saying that Huntsville residents are concerned after the city council has made a move to no longer stream public comments at the meetings. So anything that is, quote, non-agenda related public comment sections of the meetings, which are typically, the second half of the meeting, there is a space for citizens to make comments. And typically, those had been broadcast during the live streams of the meetings that the city of Huntsville puts out. But recently, it has changed, apparently. A WFF 48 viewer actually reached out to the station, realized that they were no longer airing and wanted to know what was up. So get this, Huntsville City Councilman David Little says they are not legally required to broadcast the public comments at the end of the meeting. And so they won't. He says the change to the live stream is so the city's official business is what is broadcasted. Now, to his credit, another city councilman, Bill Kling, says that he did not know about the change until recently, right? The change happened without his knowledge as a city councilman. And Councilman Kling said that he believes public comment is still a big part of good government practices. He thinks it should be brought back. So that's an interesting issue. Kling said, I'm disappointed because I think this is part of the meeting. People have a right to come speak to their elected official. I've heard from a lot of people that they really like that part of the meeting, and it is part of a public meeting. Councilman Little, again, he says they do not legally have to stream it, so they will no longer be streaming it. That's interesting. I'm curious to see if that's going to play out in the election here in August, because I think government transparency is something that resonates with a lot of people, regardless of your politics, your ideology, what party you may typically vote for. We all want to know what our government's up to, right? And I think it's all important. It's important for all of us to have space to address government agencies, right? The public comment section at the school board meeting, at the city council meeting, at the county commission meeting, that's important. We have to be able to speak at these meetings. And often that's the only way you can really address these officials, right? Because it's pretty often the experience that when you reach out to elected officials, you don't get a response, right? They won't answer your call. They won't respond to your email. You send them a letter, hoping you track them down that way, right? I'm not saying that's all elected officials by any means, but it's more common than it should be. And frankly, there's something important and valuable to public pressure, right? For members of the public to be in the public, exerting pressure, expressing their opinions, providing their input before this public body. So I wanted to highlight that local story. Very disappointed in the Huntsville City Council for no longer airing that section of the public comments. I'd be curious to know from listeners who live elsewhere, does your local city council live stream the meetings? If so, do they include the public comment section? Heck, do you even have public comments at your city council meeting or school board meeting? When I represented public school employees in Huntsville City Schools, one of the frequent battles I had with the school board was over the public comment section of the meeting. When I first started in that position, members of the audience were allowed to ask questions during the work session of the meeting. That was taken away. Members of the public could speak for 3 minutes. All you had to do was sign up right before the meeting. They didn't change that to require, I believe, like 72 hours notice. It was multiple days notice. They wanted basically a transcript of what you were going to say. A form that you had to fill out online. So they tried to make it more difficult, right? Just to be able to stand up and speak your piece for 3 minutes. So that was a frequent battle. So yeah, I would love to hear from folks across Alabama, across the South, and wherever you're tuning in from. How does your local government operate in terms of that level of transparency? Do you have public participation at the meetings? And is any of this live streamed so people can actually see it online and go back and check the record?
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.